this entire thing maybe has been a bit mysterious. We haven't really advertised much about it yet, but that is probably simply because I finished putting all of the materials together yesterday. So either way, glad you all are here to hear about our new Flint Student Ambassador Program. This has kind of been on our minds for a while, and we're excited to finally share it with you all. But of course, this is still like one of those things where we're just like trying this out. We're wanting it to be something really for the community by the community. So if you all have anything that you want to like suggest to add to this, as I'm like walking through the different things that it entails, or if there's like anything you think should be edited, please let me know. And yeah, excited to hear that feedback from you all at the end here, I guess. So what we'll be covering today, as always, I have like a little bit of ice-breaking news, and then I'll actually dive into the program itself. So kind of covering first like what the inspiration for all of this was, why at all we're doing this anyways, and then I'll actually like walk you through the program details, what this actually entails, and what sort of our expectations as a team are. And then finally we'll have some time for like some share out, some feedback. Yeah, maybe any of the students on the call, if you want to share about how you've been using Flint so far, that'd be really cool. But yeah, as always, the recording will be available later. If you're on this call, and anyone who registered, you'll get the link directly in your inbox once it's available. Yeah, questions are welcome at any time. Feel free to just interrupt me or raise your hand or throw something in the chat, and Jacob can help you out here. Great. All right, so for the icebreaking news today, some of you all might have seen this, but GPT-5 was released last week. I played around with it a little bit, and it's very interesting, the approach that they took this time around. I feel like OpenAI as a company is releasing a new model with like different intentions every time, so that's very neat to see. And yeah, I just like linked to this article from their company that kind of walks through what is new, what their different goals were here, and what is really strong about this model. And yeah, of course, like at Flint, our team is evaluating all of the new models that come out. You don't necessarily have to like be the expert on all of these new things, but I don't know, I personally find it really fun to play around with. And I think like if you all find any new use cases or perks from these models, please share them with us. And yeah, they just might be the new model that we use in Flint itself. But yeah, I just thought that would be cool to share just in case I wasn't on anyone's radar yet. Yeah, GPT-5 is pretty cool because it does like this thinking thing where I asked it for a table of restaurant recommendations locally, and it spent like 15 minutes telling me that. And I think there's probably like more useful ways to use it than I did, but I think it's pretty cool how it like shows you all the different steps that it's doing, which is kind of similar to the process that we use in Flint actually. So yeah, seems like everyone's kind of on that track when it comes to developing AI, and yeah, very interesting things. Any questions, comments about the news? Yeah, if not, I will continue on to the program itself, since I'm sure you all are still at least a little bit confused. So when it came to the inspiration for this program, basically we had seen that a lot of students were already advocating for Flint. Either they were, like Ronan here, who's actually from Micah School, they were creating templates for other people to use, and those were like gaining a lot of popularity. Yeah, or we had like students who were like presenting about Flint, or I heard like multiple stories of how students were actually creating activities for their teachers and not the other way around. So basically, we were already really impressed with what students were just doing on their own. And we as a team honestly weren't putting out all that much like training material or resources that were student facing. So yeah, so I talked to a bunch of students, Izzy being one of them, who is also on the call with us today, which is wonderful. And yeah, through those conversations, I saw that there were a lot of different ways that we could support this sort of student leadership and student advocacy that we were seeing. And like one thing that Izzy said that kind of stood out to me was it was really hard for me starting out to say anything about AI. One, because of the stigma around AI being used for cheating, and two, because there just wasn't a lot of opportunity to. So yeah, those were kind of the inspirations for this program. Kind of like lofty goals, but in general, the mission that we're looking at is how to develop and empower student leaders who promote ethical AI adoption, foster independent learning, and drive educational transformation in their communities. So there's a bunch of different pieces there, and that's very intentional because we know like each student is coming from a school with like a different environment around AI. Each student is coming with a different background on like using AI for their own learning. So this program is meant to like be almost like a buffet style of options for students to choose whether they want to like, you know, go the presentation route and just like and focus on the like open sharing about how AI can be used. Or maybe students want to go into like very technical of really discovering what it is that they can do with AI and dive deep into that exploration. Yeah. So finally, with that, we have like 3 program goals here. The first of which is to help students hone like leadership skills in general, so specifically in AI. And then secondly, we want to, you know, provide an achievement that you can put on your college resumes. Most of the students that we saw were doing this advocacy already were in high school. So we figured, you know, what's the next thing that's especially top of mind for students in high school, university, or college, or whatever post-grad is happening. Yeah, and then third of all, just like provide some fun and support to our student audience actually, and be able to connect with them more. So yeah, supporting AI advocacy through, you know, giving these students who are really stellar specific merch. And we also have included in this program scholarships that students can use towards their college and university education. So those are some very exciting things that I will actually dive into the specifics of now. But so far, are there any questions before I go into the program details? Cool. Nice. So the page for our student ambassador page is live. I'll share it in the chat here in case anyone wants to walk through it as I'm talking. This is where you'll find all of the information about what it is, what it entails, and what you need to do if you want to become a Flint student ambassador. So we have this like little bit on what a Flint student ambassador is and this helpful little flow chart for what this means. There's essentially 2 forms that students need to fill out. The first one is just like interest in being an ambassador, really. So that one's really simple. And then after you do that, we'll like dedicate you as a Flint representative, and that will, you know, put you on our radar for our team. We'll put you in like a chat group with all of the different students that are interested in this program and have like passed this initial step of actually showing like why they're interested and how they're interested. And then as a Flint representative, then you'll have like access to our team, more details about the program, and the opportunities to actually like complete the tasks that are entailed with actually becoming an ambassador. So yeah, I might be like reaching out to you to see if you have the ability to like present at one of these campfire sessions, or if you want to like make any like material that advocates for Flint, or if there's anything that we can do to help you at your school to help you talk more about Flint with your peers. Um, yeah, so basically, once you're a Flint representative, then you'll actually complete a set of tasks that kind of showcase how you're using AI and how you're thinking about it, and really demonstrate like how you're leveraging it and promoting it within your school and beyond. So those tasks kind of vary. That's the most convoluted part. I'll get to that in a bit more detail in a second. But yeah, then you become an actual Flint ambassador. And then finally, at the end of the school year and every school year in the future, hopefully, as long as this program goes well, we'll choose a Flint ambassador or a couple Flint ambassadors of the year. And with that comes the scholarship opportunities and additional recognition that you can definitely put on your resume. So yes, that's kind of the flow. When it comes to what this actually looks like and entails, so we have this like section on the page that covers the program perks. These are, of course, like just ones that our team has thought of and like some of the people I've talked to have thought of. If there's anything that you think would be really beneficial to provide to students that our team could do that would, enable students who are trying to do this sort of thing even more, then please let us know. But yeah, for the representatives, of course, like the presentation opportunities that I mentioned, we have these like weekly webinars if students are able to join, or you can like pre-record something and I can show it during the webinar. Or like we're starting up a podcast also, if that's more your cup of tea. And then we also have like a blog that we run. So if you prefer to write rather than speak, that's also an option. But essentially, there's a bunch of different opportunities for you to share about Flint through our platforms. And then, of course, we'll connect you with like the rest of the students in this cohort so that you all can share what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, kind of get that sort of networking aspect going. And then finally, for the representatives, our team is also like willing to provide grants to any extracurricular clubs that you might be leading or you might want to start up at your school. Yeah, so if there's like anything that you need sponsored or any sort of like thing that you're trying to do, but like the school doesn't have the funds for it, let us know and we could look into it and maybe work something out there. Yeah, and then once you're an ambassador, we'll provide you with a completion certificate. And then there's also like free special edition merch coming. If you have any like wants for that, also let me know. And then of course, once you're an actual ambassador, that's when you'll be considered for the Ambassador of the Year distinction, which is the piece of this that includes the scholarship opportunities for college and university. Yeah. Any questions so far about these different levels and what's going on? Yeah, go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering with the grants, especially for more technical students, would it be possible to use some grants towards API credits?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm sure we can work something out there, especially if you're like using those API credits in certain extracurriculars with other students and you're like trying to build something. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Great. Awesome. So yes, so for becoming a student representative, that's the first initial form that has like just basic information on who you are, yeah, what school you go to, what year you graduate, just some information so we can know like what's going on here. And then finally, because I know most of our students are probably going to be under the age of 18, we just request that your parent or guardian fill out a media release and consent form. Of course, if there's like any hesitation with that, just let our team know and yeah, we'll figure something out there. Yeah, and then there's two written statements. The first of which is to describe how Flint has used you in your education so far. There's a couple things that we're looking for there that's kind of described in this form question. And then the second one is to describe what you're excited to accomplish with Flint in the upcoming school year through the help of this program. This is also good for our team to know how like people are leveraging this program and if there's anything we should like lean into more or expand in that sense. And then finally a headshot because we might use something that you've written in one of these two statements as a testimonial and we would love to like show your beautiful face next to that. Yeah, and then so once you fill that out, our team will let you know if like all of the information looks good or if there's anything that we need from you in addition to add you to the ambassador cohort or ambassador in training cohort. And then comes the tasks that you need to do to actually become a full Flint ambassador. So you must complete the AI literacy course for students. That's pretty easy. There's just like a slide deck to go through with a bunch of information about what AI is, how it works, and then there's like a quiz at the end that you can take as many times as you need to get like an 85%. And then once you pass that, you can just like submit your certification document back to us and we'll check that off for you. And then there's two sections here afterwards. One aspect is we want to see like how you're using Flint and evidence of that. So the two options here is either creating a bunch of different activities for yourself and like writing reflections on that process of how you created it, refined it, and used it. And then there we're really looking at like a breadth of how you might be using Flint. So for example, you could create like a problem solving activity for math for a topic that you're like wanting more practice on. But then you could also create like a role play where maybe you're talking to your favorite cartoon character and just getting it to plan out the day with you. Anything under the sun that is helping you with your own personal learning or your own personal uh, goals in a way could be really cool to see. And then the other option there, but of course you can do both of these if you want, is to create 3 different activities for your peers or for your teachers. So as you're talking with other students or even your teachers, what are some things that you see that maybe Flint could help them with? And yeah, these are kind of some things that students are already doing from what I'm seeing. And yeah, that could also be really cool. So yeah, that's the Flint usage piece. And then the second piece here is like the actual proactive advocacy task. So this is like, we listed a couple examples here of what this looks like. But of course, if there's anything beyond this that you want to do, there's also room in the form to talk about that. But essentially, you know, presenting about Flint within your school is kind of a straightforward one. If you're like sharing with other students in like a more formal presentation about how to use it or what sorts of like insights you've gotten from it, that could work. I've even seen some students like be the ones to present to their teachers during their professional development days. So that would also count towards this. And then, of course, there's the option to present about Flint to the broader community. And we provide a lot of opportunities for that through like campfire sessions like these, the podcasts, or if you want to like do anything on your own social media accounts or during hackathons or conferences, whatever other opportunities that you're pursuing, that could also be good. We have the opportunity to write a guest post for the Flint blog. I put a minimum of 600 words here, but usually I just tell people if you feel like you've fully explained your thoughts and what you want to say there, that will be good. But usually I see that takes at least 600 words. But yeah, if you have an idea that you want to write about that covers some topics in AI and education, yeah, feel free to write up that draft and then send it to us. And we'll like let you know if there's any edits that you might need or if it's good to go, and we'll post it to the blog. And then finally, on the leadership end, if you're like a leader or found want to like now found any sort of like otherwise technology related club and share about Flint within it, that would also count. And we just want to hear like what that experience looks like, how Flint has actually benefited that club, and like why you decided to use it within that club. And of course, this doesn't have to be like just the set STEM clubs. Um, I think it was Izzy on this call who was telling me that she was using Flint with one of her sports and using it to help students like plan out their days and really like leveraging, you know, technology that in of itself might not directly have a relation to that club, but in a way that really benefits the members of that club. So yeah, that could also that fits here. Yes, but in this section, we have like this PDF where you can download this full checklist. And then also on the back there, or second page, depending on how you print it, will be some tips on like what sort of evidence to gather for these things. But I would actually recommend to go through the actual form here if you are like unsure of what that should look like, which I will do now. So with this form, you don't have to like gather everything before you submit. We understand that can be like kind of maybe a lot to handle. So, and also like it's better for our team to hear earlier rather than later about the cool things that you're doing. So yeah, once you complete a task or any number of tasks, feel free to just submit this form and then you'll get the email for it. And I've enabled it so that you can change your answers later on. So you can add to it, or if you like submit a separate form, our team will also just connect them. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it just like asks for your email again so that we can like connect the different forms. And then it asks what tasks you're wanting to submit evidence for. So I'll just show like a couple of examples here. So we won't like go too in depth into this. But let's say like I want to submit the course completion evidence. Oh, sorry. I forgot I made these required. Okay. Um, yeah, then here it will just ask me to upload that file of the certificate. And then any of these also have like additional notes about the task that I can add. And then after that, I can say like, I don't need to submit any more evidence now, or there's like maybe some other evidence that I want to submit. So for example, in the Flint usage section, oh, let me just upload a random file for now. Okay. So in the Flint usage section, if I go here, this will be like the evidence of how I'm using activities for myself. We have some written like resources in each of these sections. Like if you haven't created an activity yet, there's like an explainer video from our teacher area literacy course. But I am making a new video about this soon, so I'll like update that. But yeah, it kind of gives you some guidelines for what sorts of activities should be created and what we're looking for there. Some places to look for inspiration if you're like kind of feeling stuck, not really sure what to make. And then also some guidelines on how to actually like publish the activity so that everyone can see it and not just our team, really honing in on that advocacy and leadership aspect. But yeah, for each of them, we're wanting to see the overview page link at least. And then if you can publish it to the public library, great. But I understand there might be some activities that you make that might have like copyrighted information or sensitive information that you don't want to share. So that piece is optional. And then finally, there's like the reflection piece of, just writing a couple sentences about how you used it, what you did to improve it, and what you learned from that process. Yeah, so that's for each of those. Any questions there? Also, let me know if I'm going too fast. Cool. Okay. I'll go back here. And then now let's look at one of the presentation options. So for either presentation within your school or beyond your school, yeah, this is kind of a bit more open-ended, but really we just want to see like, what you got out of this presentation and also what you've presented and what that looks like. So here we put like the option for you to add a bunch of links to the content that you presented on or evidence of that presentation. Of course, the more that you can provide, the better. So yeah, this can include anything from like the slides that you used during the presentation to like any materials you created for it, recordings of it if you have it, pictures from it. If you're presenting through one of our platforms, we also might be the ones that have this information. So you can just kind of like note down like, hey, I shared at this campfire session, or like I was on this episode of the podcast or something. So yeah, that one should hopefully be pretty straightforward. Just make sure that anything you share has the visibility settings of anyone can view so our team can see it. Yeah, and then in here, in each of these like submission areas, we have the option to add additional notes about this task. So if there's any like additional context that you want to share about like how you came to present during this thing, or how you put together the content and like what inspired that, you can write about that here and our team would love to read that. But that is also optional. So I just put that as a separate question. Yeah, and then let me go back again. So for the guest post, I kind of touched on this earlier, but we're just asking for the article draft. Yeah, and you can upload that here or add a link or paste it directly in, whatever works for you. Yes, that one is also straightforward, hopefully. Okay, and then finally, for the extracurricular clubs, like I kind of mentioned, like this doesn't have to be a technology related club. But essentially, we just want to see like evidence for how you're incorporating Flint into your club and how that's actually benefiting your members. So this might be like an agenda from a club meeting, showing how you're using Flint, or it could be like a picture of yourself and the members using or discussing Flint. And of course, if we like share any of those pictures, we'll blur out faces that aren't yours, because we don't have their permission. Um, yeah, but I would of course check with your peers if they're good with that. And then, yeah, so we also want you to just give a quick description, maybe like 3 to 6 sentences about, how Flint has helped or changed aspects of your club's functions, activities, goals, etc. And then we also ask for a faculty sponsor email just to like make sure that it's real. Cool. Yeah, and we also have the option to upload additional evidence there. Okay. Yeah, so those are like all of the prescribed tasks that we've added to Flint. But we do have this option for the other task aspect. So if there's anything that you're already doing with your school, within your school, outside your school, whatever it might be, like, I don't know, maybe you're building your own AI or your own like tools and you're using Flint in that, that could also be really cool. If you want to share about that more broadly to your community, then please do so. And yeah, here we just ask with like a simple text box, like a description of what that task is and the evidence for it. And then if there's anything that like our team wants to know more, we might reach back out to you for more details on that. But that one's also like a very quick, potentially qualifying initiative section. Yeah, and then so I guess, yeah, quickly, any questions about all those different pieces? I know I threw a lot at you all, but it is all there in the form. So yeah, but if there's any other questions afterwards, feel free to email me. Awesome. Okay, so I think I just have like a couple more details to go through. Yeah, the last section is just about the Student Ambassador of the Year aspect of this. So yeah, every year our team will award outstanding ambassadors with this distinction. And yeah, really, honestly, our team doesn't really know what this will look like yet, but it kind of depends on like what this year's cohort of ambassadors looks like and what they're doing and what sort of cool things are happening. So basically, to qualify, we just want you to become a official student ambassador. So complete the checklist of items, the 4 different things that you might choose from this buffet of advocacy things. And then, yeah, do all that before May 31st. So May 31st of 2026. And then we'll like look through everything and announce honorees within the following week, hopefully. Yeah, and then that's kind of it. But of course, like if you don't become a Flint student ambassador of like this year, we'll like consider you for next year if you do like the tasks again. And yeah, that's like how we'll determine who we give scholarships. And of course, like you'll increase your chances if you do more tasks or like if your tasks are like a bit more like complicated or creative. But you know, we understand like school is your first job and this is probably just like a side thing for some of you. So yeah, if anything gets to be like confusing or if you're like not sure if something will like qualify as a task, feel free to just reach out to me and I can like assure you or give you tips there. Yeah, cool. Any questions? I think I hope this was comprehensive enough and that people are less confused now. Nice. Okay, so yeah, this is like just the start of it again. We'll probably come out with like more details about everything and like how this looks later. But of course, like if there's anything that suggest to our team, please let us know. And yeah, so we do have a decent amount of time left, and would love to like hear any of your feedback this uh, for this program that we've put together. And of course, like we'd also love to hear like examples of how you as a student or for any of the admins here, how students of yours have been using Flint and advocating for it. That would all be really cool. Yeah. Isaac, sorry to call on you, but I saw that you just completed the literacy course. I guess like how did you find it and like what are your aspirations for Flint now?
Sure. So to be fair, I didn't do the course since I have a pretty technical background. I just went straight to the exam.
Mhm.
But my aspirations are probably to get more students into using AI and not cheating. So with this is kind of like more for Flint in general, but I've made a couple grammar activities, and these grammar activities really help, at least as my friends say, they really help you to learn how to do these grammatical structures. So at my school, there's some like very specific type of grammatical problems. I think one of them is called kernel sentences, and one of them is called megablunders. So you've probably never heard of them, but that's why LMs will actually kind of struggle if you just tell them, make me a kernel sentence, make me a megablunder problem. And so what I did is I used few-shot prompting, where you give examples to the LM, and then with those examples, I got a Flint activity, which could make those problems. Then actually, this is probably the most meaningful to me, is that one of my friends came up to me after I made it and after the exam and said, this activity helped me ace the kernel sentence section of the exam. So I'm really happy about that.
That's awesome. And like honestly, what you just described, like word for word, you just write that into one of the task evidences, and there you go. That's like the first one. That's super cool. Wow. Yeah. And it's really awesome to like hear how like what am I trying to say? How much knowledge you already have about AI and like how you're super excited about it. Because yeah, it's like students like you that we're trying to promote and empower here. Yeah. And I know like I've talked to Izzy before, and she's honestly like she's like self-proclaimed on the other side of things, where like she wasn't such a technology person before, but like now because of AI, she's like getting really into it. So I don't know. It's really cool to see like both sides of the spectrum here on the call today. Yeah. Izzy, is there anything that you want to share while we have the time?
Yeah, I can talk about a little bit about what I've done so far. At my school, I work a lot with like giving presentations. I gave one to teachers, a couple admin, and students in my school. Additionally, with that, I make, as she mentioned, I did make one for my field hockey team, and I make tutors for my classes. And the field hockey team one right now was one for managing like time with practice. I think I'm working on making another one that's like film analytics for when we start season. So applying it, I really like how applicable it is to every single area of life. Like you can take it into everything. I also am one of the leaders of my AI club at my school. And so we are working to organize like whole school presentations every month or so. So that's another little thing I'm trying to put together for that. I'm really excited for this student ambassador program. I think that it'll be really, really great for like empowering students to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, actually, just out of curiosity, who is the audience for the like monthly AI presentations at your school that you're planning?
We're planning on making it different audiences. So we're thinking currently that there will be some student ones, some teacher ones, and then some like per subject or per extracurricular. Like have an extracurricular one and separate it by that kind of thing, so students and teachers and coaches can see, oh, that looks interesting, that's where I'm at, and like tailor it to themselves what they want to learn.
That's super cool. It sounds like you're like almost a team of AI consultants within your own school. So yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, if there's anything that our team could do like to support those efforts or anything, just let us know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, do any of the administrators or teachers on the call want to share anything about like how your students are using Flint so far? I know, sorry, Micah, but I know Micah's school has like, they were one of the earliest schools that we heard about having like a student AI committee, where the students were like really involved in like setting the policy and like, yeah, like that could even be like one of the tasks that you talk about in this ambassador program. Like if you were someone who was like really helping to like define that for your school. But yeah, I don't know if Micah, you have anything else to share about that.
I mean, not really, other than I think we've just tried to really empower our students. So everything from having students lead professional development sessions with teachers on how to use Flint and just AI in general, but in particular how to build activities in Flint. We've had students lead that. We've had students, panels of students present at different faculty meetings and gatherings that we've had. And everybody is always really impressed because kids are great and they're smart and they're digging into this sort of stuff. I mean, to your point about our AI guidelines, yeah, a couple of years ago, we tasked our AI student committee with coming up with our school's guidelines, and they came up with some really amazing progressive guidelines for us that totally flipped a paradigm, and now have become a model for a lot of other schools. And that was something that our kids created. This year, their task is going to be to come up with an AI literacy curriculum that spans 9th through 12th grade. And that's our next big thing.
Wow, dang, that is one behemoth task, but that's super cool. Great, yeah. Is there anything else anyone wants to share or questions that you all have? Yeah, go ahead, Izzy.
I was just wondering if that application and steps are open like now, like I can start them now.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so in the link that I shared, the like /student-ambassadors link, the forms are there. Of course, like if you do them now, there might be like things that we add on to it later, but I don't anticipate like removing anything. So yes, if you want to like start filling things out, please do. Yeah. Go ahead, Isaac.
And also, on the form, say we gave like a general AI presentation rather than one specifically about Flint. Would that be all right as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I guess the thing is like we're still like trying to figure this out, so I will say yes for now. I think like of course like our team wants to make sure that people are using like our product also, but I do think like more AI usage in your school or in your community will always just lead to more curiosity and more exploration. And I think that benefits everyone and is also like working towards the mission that we have for this program. So yes, I would say yes.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Erica says that she's beginning the rollout. Yeah, I've seen you at a couple Campfire sessions now, so please, thank you for coming to these. But yeah, super excited to hear what your students do with it also. Yeah, and that's kind of like a good segue into this final call to action that I have for everyone here today. Yeah, essentially, I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record. I've said this multiple times, but please suggest improvements, additions, edits to this program. Yeah, we would love to hear your thoughts on it and how it can better benefit and empower students. And then I think for any of the teachers and administrators on this call, please nominate students that you think would be a good fit for this program. Share this with them. If there's like a student in particular that you want us to like, I don't know, extra push to go through this, please just let us know. And yeah, hopefully this just reaches more eyes and the students who are like maybe just waiting for that push or that encouragement to like do some of this stuff. Hopefully this is a program that will empower them to actually pursue something. Yeah. And with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all for coming again today. The recording will be posted on our website if you need it. But yeah, anyone on this call will get the link to the recording once that's live. And then I have a couple of QR codes here. Yeah, we host more of these campfire sessions, usually once a week. There's like the link to subscribe there, but if you're here, you've probably already subscribed. We also have an Instagram that will be mostly like content that's geared towards like how to actually use Flint. It might be like more teacher facing, but for any of the students who are like also trying to like, be a teacher to your peers, that might be helpful to give a follow. Yeah, and then we have the Flint community. That's also like mostly teachers there, but it might be kind of cool to like get some inside like look into like what teachers are thinking about as they're creating things. Maybe there's like room there where you can also help them out, and that could be one of the tasks. So yeah. Oh yes, and next week's session will probably be a build along with me kind of session. So yeah, just like as the school year is getting started, I understand like some schools are doing like very comprehensive training for their teachers. Some are doing comprehensive training for their students also. But we'll just have a session to like kind of catch anyone who's like maybe their school isn't doing it or they weren't able to make it to the one that their school is doing. And I'll just like do it like almost office hour-y kind of thing where we just like walk through some examples together and build some things out. So yeah, that is everything for this week. Thank you all for coming again. And yes, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or suggestions later on. But yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Lulu.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to see both of your submissions soon, hopefully. But yeah, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Erica. Bye.